Hi Anja, my pronouns are she and her, and welcome back to my channel for a new recent reads video. The first book on this list is called The Weeping Tide. For those who don't know, this book is a middle-grade fantasy sequel to The Accidental Apprentice, and it was one of my most anticipated 2022 new releases. This book definitely lived up to my expectations, thankfully, and I ended up rating it 4 stars because I really enjoyed it. This story was such a thrilling adventure. I really enjoyed how the plot was very fast-paced and very thrilling and very intriguing and very engaging. The characters were very well developed and very distinct, and I really enjoyed that. The characters are probably my favorite part of Amanda's books, and this book was no exception. This story was so awesome. The plot twists came out of nowhere, but they were also expected. You know what I mean? Like, the story was so well done, and I was absolutely so invested in every single step of the way. It was so good. I really enjoyed this book, and with that, I would highly recommend it, because I would say that this book was better than the first book, and now I have much higher expectations for the next book in this series. So anyway, like I mentioned earlier, I ended up rating this book 4 stars, and with that, I would highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called No Filter and Other Lies. This book is a YA contemporary that follows a young bisexual girl who's catfishing as a more confident and picture-perfect version of somebody else than she is in real life. I don't know if that makes any sense, but basically, I had really high expectations for this book because this author previously wrote Fat Chance Charlie Vega last year, which I really enjoyed. And this book, unfortunately, did not live up to those expectations at all. Well, let me clarify. In the beginning, it did. Like, halfway through this book, I really enjoyed it. The first half of this book was great. I was so invested in the sapphic romance, the characters felt realistic, the friendships felt realistic, and the plot was super intriguing. But then none of those plot points ended the way that I thought that they would. And like, don't get me wrong, normally I like unexpected endings, but this book was like unexpected in all the wrong ways, but I don't know what alternate ending I would have preferred instead. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense, but basically this book ended up disappointing me because I didn't really love it as much as I was really expecting to. The first half of this book though was really strong, but I don't know what happened in the second half. When I was reading this book at the point that I really enjoyed it, I was thinking to myself that it was so much better than Fat Chance Charlie Vega, and then I finished it and I completely changed my mind, which is funny because when I read Fat Chance Charlie Vega, halfway through that story, I wanted to rate it 3 stars, and then when I finished it, I rated it 4 stars, and when this one, the opposite happened. Like, initially I was going to rate it 4 stars, and I ended up rating it 3 stars. So anyway, in conclusion, this book disappointed me. So, do I recommend it? No, I don't. The next book on this list is called Ophelia After All. This book is a YA contemporary following a young girl who's navigating the end of high school, friendship drama, and her own sexuality. This book was so good. I had really high expectations because everybody was raving about it on my Twitter timeline, and I will say that this book definitely lives up to that hype. I rated it 5 stars because there's nothing that I would change about this book, and it made me cry twice, which means that I was so emotionally attached to the characters and to the events. The plot was so intriguing, so engaging, and absolutely so thrilling. The characters were so well developed and so distinct. The queer representation was so well done, and it was so awesome. I love reading about characters who are navigating who they are and themselves, and how that idea of who they are can change and evolve over time. You know what I mean? Like, the story is so important and it's so timely, and it's so well done. This book deserves all the hype and so much more because it's absolutely so excellent, so emotional, and absolutely so amazing, and with that I would highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Cameron Battle in the Hidden Kingdoms. This book is a middle-grade fantasy, and it follows a young black boy who's transported to a magical kingdom that he's destined to save. and this book is marketed as Percy Jackson meets Black Panther, and it's also compared to Amari and the Night Brothers, which I definitely understand, because like those things, like Percy Jackson and Amari and the Night Brothers, the plot was very intriguing and it was very engaging, and the world building and the setting were very cool and very interesting. However, the characters didn't really do it for me. Like, I wasn't really emotionally attached or really emotionally invested in what was happening, if that makes any sense. Like, don't get me wrong, the story itself was a thrilling adventure, and I definitely understand the hype behind this book. I just don't really agree with it, because honestly, some of the characters felt really unnecessary to me. For example, the main character has two best friends, and I didn't really feel the need for both of them to be there. You know, like, the setting and the plot were great, but the characters didn't really stick out to me that much, and I don't really know why. So anyway, I rated this book 3 stars, and I won't be continuing the series or reading the sequel, so I don't really know if I recommend this book to anybody. So yeah, there you have it. The next book on this list is called Within These Wicked Walls. This book is a YA Ethiopian-inspired fantasy retelling of Jane Eyre, and I rated it 3 stars. Initially, the setting and the plot of the story hooked me in. Like, the setting was cool, and it was like gothic, and it was atmospheric, and I enjoyed it. The plot was intriguing, and it was like somewhat fast-paced, and it was almost thrilling. However, the main character was a good, solid, well-developed main character, and I definitely understand why other readers might really like her. However, I didn't care for the romance in this story at all. I knew how it was going to end up because I've read the original story of Jane Eyre. You know what I mean? So I knew where that plot point would end up, but that didn't mean that I enjoyed it. Also, I didn't really understand like the magic fantastical system of this story. I can't really explain it to anybody, but you know, it was intriguing initially, but like I didn't really care for it since I didn't really fully understand it, but that's completely my fault. It has nothing to do with the author. So yeah, I had mixed feelings about this book. I thought it was good and okay, but not like good and great. So I rated it 3 stars, and now I'm more hesitant about reading any books further from this author in the future. So anyway, with that said, I rated this book 3 stars, and I don't exactly recommend it. So, in conclusion, I do recommend The Weeping Tide and Ophelia After All, but I don't really recommend anything else. And I really hope that my next recent reads video is full of better books. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the watermelon emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!